Okay, let's roll right into our post-race for tonight's 33rd annual Drive for the Cure 300 presented by Blue Cross Blue Shield of North Carolina. Our race winner is Brad Keselowski. He drives the number 22 Discount Tire Ford for Team Penske. He's joined by his crew chief, Jeremy Bullins. This is Brad's 31st NASCAR Nationwide Series win. Ties him with NASCAR Hall of Famer Jack Ingram for 5th all-time NASCAR Nationwide Series wins list. It's his 4th win of 2014 and his 3rd win at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Brad, congratulations. It certainly was a night of perseverance for the number 22 team. And just talk about how you guys persevered and got this win.
Yeah, it was a night of adversity to start. Didn't quite qualify the way we wanted to, but we thought for sure we would race really well. And the first run in the race, it wasn't looking like that was going to happen, and we all got really nervous. And then we lost the tire and hit the wall, and thought, wow, this is going to be a real downward spiral. And Jeremy and the crew, hats off to them. They got us back in it with good strategy and a can-do attitude. And we got back on sequence, got our laps back, got in a position where we were even on tires at the end with the right adjustments in the car and a fast pit stop. And from there, it was just in my hands to execute the restarts and execute a few key passes, and we were able to make that happen, and that's how we got to victory lane today.
Jeremy, just talk about this win here tonight. Certainly wasn't easy. I'm sure there were some stressful moments. You said out there one time, you said it's pretty hot out here. But just talk about how this team got this win here tonight.
It is hot for October, but we'll take it. Yeah, it's always special. I mean, I got my parents here. I told Brad before the race, 2.5 years ago, won my first race with this team, and my parents were here, and they're here tonight, so that's always cool. Certainly not an easy night, but those are the ones that you remember when you have to earn them. Like Brad said, we had a tire come apart on us early there. It didn't look so good, but we managed to fight through it. Our pit crew did a really great job tonight. Those guys have really stepped up the last couple of weeks, and they're coming together here at the end of the year. Timing is good for that. So everybody put their heads together, put a plan together, made good adjustments, and got it back up front when we needed to. And Brad did his part.
Take questions. We'll start right here first with Jeff Gluck.
Jeff Gluck from USA Today. Brad, scale 1 to 10 for tomorrow night. How worried are you about the tire situation?
I'm not going to pretend to play expert tonight, but nationwide cars are different than Cup cars, but generally Cup cars are worse than nationwide cars. So I don't know. Jeremy said the tires we had issue with were built from at a different time than the ones we didn't have issues with, or the Cup cars. So it's hard to know. Looking back at Kansas, we didn't have any issues in practice, and then we did in the race. And kind of similar to tonight at Kansas, we had probably the least aggressive setup you could put in the car, just because of anticipating it would be an issue, and still had a problem. And then tonight we made it a point to have, again, one of the least aggressive setups we could have in the car, and still had the problem. So, I don't know what's causing them, so I don't know how to tell you if it is or is not going to be a problem. It seems very random, so I don't know what that means. So I can't give you a great answer. I wish I could. If I could give you an answer, we'd all work around it. I think that's the problem is nobody has an answer, and it just seems to come out of nowhere.
We'll go to Stan, and then we'll go to the press box.
Stan Creekmore with Competition Plus. So, Jeremy, almost the same question for you, and you've been through this a little bit before. So how much more work are you going to have to do tonight and early tomorrow to hopefully help the Cup team not have the same issues with the tires that you had tonight?
I don't know how much we can do other than, give. Obviously, we're open book as far as the information of where we were at tonight and what we saw, and give those guys something to compare to. I think one of the things that we've noticed this year is maybe the Cup cars, because of the speed they run, seem to put rubber down a little better than a Nationwide car does. So hopefully that helps for tomorrow night. The tires early on that we had an issue with were, we had usually with the Nationwide stuff, you might have 2 different sets of date codes, and the ones that we were having issues with were a little bit older. I'm sure all the Cup stuff is new, so hopefully that alleviates some of the problem. But I'm sure it'll be on everybody's mind until they get through the first green flag run.
Let's go to the press box, and then we'll come up back here to, I think, Chris, do you have a question? Go to the press box first.
Reed Spencer with NASCAR Wire Service for Brad. After that final restart with 19 to go, you were very methodical in the way you handled those last 19 laps. Were you extremely confident at that point that with the tire advantage that ultimately you were going to get by Ryan?
I was confident when the yellow was out I'd be able to get by him, and then he took off them first 5 laps, and I went, uh-oh. I wasn't holding back, and he was driving away. And then it just, the pendulum swung, and his car seemed to fall off. And, whether that was the 2 tires or just the nature of his car, I don't know. But it came back to us. And, when the yellow was out, I would have definitely said I was very confident, but I wasn't the first 5 laps, and it swung back to us.
Any other questions in the press box? Come back down here. Go ahead, Chris.
ChrisKnightKitchens.com. Brad, can you talk about Ryan Blaney and how he's matured as a driver from not only your truck program to the Nationwide side as well, and how much of an asset he's become to Team Penske?
Yeah, he did a hell of a job tonight. It's always tough for a driver to come into this series when you don't run it full time, any series, and run well. That's always a very strong accomplishment. But then add that to the 12 team along with that doesn't run full time, and you have 2 really big hurdles to climb. And I think saying that both of those groups, whether it was the driver or the team, did a really good job putting themselves in position to win the race at the end. And they both have my respect. But to get to your question about Ryan, he's doing a great job. He's controlling what he can control. He's earning every opportunity he's got, and if he continues to do that, he'll find himself in a really good position here very shortly.
Let's go back to Stan.
Brad, a lot of the fans out there believe that when a Cup driver steps down and runs in the Nationwide Series, he's not nearly as challenged as he is, when he's in his Sprint Cup and everything. But just looking at your performance tonight, it appeared like this is one of the most challenging races you've run all year long in that respect. So could you, add to that?
I'm not sure if I'm supposed to say thank you or feel bad about that. I think you just called me challenged. Okay, I face challenges. The thing about winning races at any level is, especially the NASCAR levels, is it's a big deal. Winning a nationwide race to me, the novelty of being in Victory Lane and being able to say we were the best on that day hasn't worn off, at least for me. And it still takes some time for me to, afterwards, to really reflect and think about what it means, just like it did the first time I won a race and I wasn't a Cup driver. So I don't take these wins for granted. I don't take these opportunities for granted. To put together a team and a car the way the 22 has been put together over the last 5 seasons. Keep in mind this team is only 5 years old and it's had 3 crew chiefs. And if you look at the other positions on the team, every position has changed probably 3 or 4 times over. And I've got to drive a good part of it, but there are other drivers that have drove, whether it was Carpentier this year, Logano, Blaney, or last year, we had Allmendinger, and a year before that we had Kligerman and Jock, and so a lot of different drivers, a lot of different situations. But to be a part of creating this team from the start in 2010 and seeing it be so successful, it means a lot to me. And it's very personal and rewarding. I think it's a part of what's helped take Penske from being a good team, a good company, to an elite race team in Sprint Cup right now. And so when people say things to me with regards to I should focus on the Cup level and not run these races or that where, stepping down and kind of taking candy, I think about that. I think about how 5 years ago this team didn't exist and how I wasn't a Cup driver, and together we were able to put this group together and all the people that have come through this program. And I think of how unfair it is to say that to them because they've gotten some great opportunities and made the most of it as well. And without being in this car, and without starting this team, it would have never existed. So the wins and all the success that comes with it means a lot to me on so many different levels, whether it's the people or the accomplishments or, seeing almost like a child, a team grow into what it has from nothing. And going back to those conversations with Roger on day one about starting this team, that means a lot to me, and it hasn't wore off. And I think of that every time we're in victory lane. So it's definitely something that I still enjoy.
Let's go to Mike right here. Mike had a question, and then Dustin. Go ahead, Mike, Dustin.
Thank you. Mike Neff from FrontStretch.com. It's for Jeremy. You mentioned that it was warmer than anticipated for a normal October evening. Not having the sun on the track obviously is going to bring your track temperature down some, but with the ambient temperature up like it is, does that allow the track to hold temperature more than normal, and how much does that affect the adjustments you make during the race?
Yeah, I think tomorrow, if I was looking back on this race, I'd probably tell you that maybe it didn't free up as much as it normally does in this race. A lot of times we anticipate the track getting looser in this, during the course of this race as the temperatures cool off. So maybe it didn't quite swing as much as normal would probably be the biggest thing.
Dustin.
Dustin Long, MRN.com for Brad. When you talk about not knowing for certain about tire issues and having this happen, in essence, 2 weeks in a row, what do you go through in preparing for tomorrow night, and how do you not let that, or how might that impact what you're going to do inside the car tomorrow night with, in theory, what you've got kind of backed up against the wall?
Yeah, well, the only thing I know to prevent the tire issues is to slow down. That doesn't seem like a very good plan, and that's very frustrating and makes you feel like you're backed in the corner. Nobody likes to play prevent defense, right? We're all racers. We want to go as fast as we can. We want to challenge each other for the lead and push the pace, push ourselves to the limits. And essentially the limits of the cars, teams, limits of the drivers are below the threshold of the tire. And that's not a good feeling.
Or does that make it easier because everybody will then have that in their mind?
The margins are so small that, anything could trip it off to cause a whole sequence of issues. It's just, the margins are too small. It's just the reality of it.
Kyle, do you have a question? Go all the way in the back, and then the gentleman right there had a question.
Kyle McCurry, My Fox Carolina. As you mentioned at the media day before Kansas, that Charlotte was a race that may be as important or even more important than Homestead. And I think you even used the words, an opportunity to control your own destiny going into Talladega. Now with the tire issues, has your mind changed about that, and is this race more of a wild card?
No, I don't think we'll – I don't know. I feel like before tonight, I would have told you that I didn't think we'd have any issues. Then we had the incidents tonight, and I'm not sure. Of the three races, Charlotte still remains, in my mind, my eyes, at the Cup level, your best opportunity to control your destiny. So performance here for this bracket is very, very critical. So I don't know. It's definitely still the best of the three, but it's not looking to be as strong as what it did before today.
Tom Baker, Speed 77 Radio and Race Chaser Online. Congratulations to both of you on the win tonight. I have a question for Brad. Following up on some of the comments you made earlier with regard to the building of the nationwide team and expanding out a little just to talk about Penske racing as a whole right now, it seems like from top to bottom, Sprint Cup nationwide, there's just a ton of consistency and great chemistry. How important is that to you as a driver going into this stretch run in the chase, knowing that you've got a team that works so well together and having that support?
It feels good. It's certainly a confidence and morale booster that makes you feel like you have a little bit more control over how things are going to go. But, you still have the task at hand. We all still have to execute. And just because we have great cars and we've had a great season to date, it doesn't mean nothing. Once they drop that green flag, you got to go out there and improve yourself. You got to go out there and drive your butt off and have great pit stops. And Jeremy's got to, or everybody on the team has to execute the race strategy and pit calls to make the car keep up with the track as it's changing and keep the speed in it, essentially. So, it's great. We're very proud of what we've done in the last few years with winning championships at the Cup level, nationwide level. But we can't get caught up in our own press clippings, as my boss would say, Roger Penske, and we got to keep pushing forward.
Any additional questions? Brad and Jeremy, congratulations on this big win tonight. Brad, certainly good luck tomorrow night.
Thank you.